Hey, Peter.
Hello, Adam.
Is this the end of an era?
It's either the end or the beginning of a new area. Or, hold on, does not compute. It might be the middle, what we call the messy middle.
It's the worst AI ever. Hey, I'm Adam Menace.
I forget it. I'm Peter Martin.
There we go.
He's back. Man, is that the...
Chat PM.
That it's just... Oh, this is music advice coming at you. Welcome in.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that... I mean, this show... I was born in 1970. Are you familiar with the 70s?
I love the 70s.
70s. So this is like just such a typical Gen Xer approach to AI. I'm a robot, because this is what we were programmed with. The Flintstones,
Say
the
what you
Jetsons.
see. Yeah,
Jetsons
make a cartoon
was my jam.
character. Jetsons
Where's my
awesome.
flying car?
Right.
Big shout out to George Jetson. Where's my flying car at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, big shout out to Hong Kong Phooey. Hashtag Hong Kong Phooey.
Great show.
But this is the thing. Like, we bring the perspective of kind of wherever we first encountered technology or perceived technological advances during our lifetime.
Well,
for the rest of our lives.
So here's where I'm gonna pull my exennial card, on you, which is the micro generation.
Not a real generation, by the way.
It is a real generation between it's the cross generation between Gen X and
it's like
millennial.
You have the bank account of a boomer, but the attitude of a millennial.
That's right.
With the fortitude of a Gen Xer.
That's right. Yeah. No. So we had cell phones in high school.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have smartphones. We had cell phones in high school. We had baby internet in high school. Like, we had the beginnings of it. So when we were very young kids, it was still all analog and tape decks and 8-tracks even. But then by the end of our sort of adolescence, we had the beginnings of what would be, similar to what we have now, just not sort of the full deal. So us exennials, we're a real weird one. We're an interesting one because we're not quite. I don't really feel.
So if my approach to AI is that, what is your perception? You're more scared though
of AI.
When we first talked about it, you were more like,
well, I see it potentially just destroying our entire existence. But yeah,
that sounds pretty fearful.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. Yeah,
I think I'm ready to embrace it.
By the way, we should mention too. So it's been mixed reviews on the AI episodes.
Yeah, this may be our last. Leave us a comment in YouTube, because this may be our last episode. Not that we're going to do what everybody says.
No, but just so you know, we might be pulling back from the AI episodes, but we wanted to go out with a bang because
we're going to come in with tinfoil hats and little things next time.
Well, it's just so much fun. The ChatGPT episodes are so much fun for us. Just to type in random shit and see what it says. But a Redditor over on our Jazz. So there's
what is an Redditor?
A Redditor. So Reddit is a website, Peter, Gen Xer.
Yes, I know.
And it is there's our Jazz Piano is a great little subreddit over there, and a user over on
our Jazz Piano.
Actually, the Reddit logo is a little robot, so It does kind of make sense.
It kind of looks like he has a tinfoil.
It has a little antenna. Yeah. So this is from user PM me your
Should I throw this up there?
ziggurat, which throw it up there.
Okay.
I asked an AI to make a practice routine, a jazz piano practice routine, which I think is brilliant, by the way. So if you're seeing
how many episodes on practice routine have we done on this podcast?
At least 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's okay. If you don't want to listen to us, you want to go to
maybe 50, man. We've done 1,000 episodes. Surely we've done.
If you'd rather go to Bing AI.
But yeah, so they
would you go to Bing and trust it for its search? But I guess we trust it for AI.
We trust it for AI. So it says, I asked an AI to make a practice routine. As the title implies, I asked Bing AI, which I didn't even know Bing was still around, I'll be honest.
It's like saying, back now.
I asked Ask Jeeves AI to develop a practice routine.
Remember Ask Jeeves? That was AI.
I asked Bing AI to develop a practice routine for someone looking to get started or restarted learning jazz piano. I'm curious to hear from experts here how close this is to something reasonable. For context, I prompted the bot with a situation which more or less sums up my own. Busy adult with very limited practice time, but some rusty background knowledge from piano lessons when I was young and playing in jazz band in high school, mostly just looking to practice for fun and to be a slightly more competent amateur musician.
That's a pretty thoughtful self-assessment and then prompt, I think, for any kind of AI. You should be able to get about as good results as possible with that kind of a prompt.
So here's its creepy ass reply. Hello, I'm happy to be your jazz piano instructor. I understand that you have limited time for practice, but you also have some previous knowledge of how to play piano and basic music theory. That's great.
Okay, the creepy part of this is, hello, I'm happy to be your jazz piano instructor. Nobody asked you to be the instructor. We just asked for some info.
You don't need to personalize this stuff. All right. So a structured routine for your short practice sessions would include the following elements. Theory. Chord progressions and chord voicings and progressions.
Well, this is, you know what? This is perfect because what do we always say? What's always number one for us?
Not theory.
Listen, damn it.
You should learn how to construct and play jazz piano chord voicings such as shell voicings, rootless voicings, quartal voicings, and altered voicings.
Okay, let me just interject a little bit.
Hell, that is.
Okay, I didn't even know the word quartal, what it meant until about 6 months ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's necessary.
You should also practice common jazz chord progressions such as 2-5-1s, turnarounds, blues, and rhythm changes. That we do.
Yeah.
That's something that we do here in the studio for sure. You can use a book like the Jazz Piano Book by Mark Levine or Jazz Keyboard Harmony by Phil DeGreg for reference 12. So those are fine. Those are
those are very well regarded and loved.
I'm not a fan of.
I'm not a fan of
some of these theory books. Learning new tunes. You should learn to play jazz standards from a lead sheet.
Yes. Do not learn it by ear.
Never learn it by ear.
Stay away from that.
Just stay with the real book. No, that's
it's gonna say that. Don't worry.
Which is a simplified notation of the melody and chords from a song. You should memorize the melody and the chord changes and practice playing them in different keys and styles. You can use a book like the Real Book or New Real Book for a collection of jazz tunes. So that is definitely something that we poo-poo, as you might say. You want to learn tunes by ear, by the way, if you can.
Although, I mean, is that maybe that's too much too soon? But I think given the prompts and the background,
let's have a timeout.
There could be some of it.
Let's get back here on the screen. So let's talk about this because we have a lot of pushback from this about lead sheets, about learning from real books. A lot of people still love their real books and their lead sheets.
Yeah.
And we cannot convince even hardcore Open Studio Pro members.
Right.
It's hard for me to convince them that they should not be doing that as much as they are. And I think it's because it's challenging. But what you might not realize is it's that challenge that makes you good.
Right.
It makes you good.
That what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Right? Do you agree?
I totally agree. I after preaching that for so long and not even we don't even get pushback. We just sort of get like
they just ignore that advice.
it's more ignoring that I do wonder how realistic it is.
It is realistic because that's how you get good.
I know, but is it the type of thing? Okay, so I'll give you something. I always like to think about myself as a student. I mean, certainly of music, but even more I try to put our students I try to put myself in their position. So I think about what am I kind of at the level and the passion level in something else. And so for me, I've been doing this marathon training. I put myself in that situation. I'm not a great runner, but I can run.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate. I have a goal. I'm very curious and I'm very open to improvement and to learning, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what I make a connection with our students being in the same position with jazz piano. And so one of the biggest concepts that I would connect with this of what we're saying in terms of learn something by ear is to train slower than you think you need to.
Right.
It's a big thing that makes sense.
People just ignore that.
And can be ignored.
Yeah.
But it actually has benefits that are counterintuitive. Although I guess learning something by ear, that should be intuitive. But I think people think that oh yeah, well that's good, but that's not really for me. That's more aspirational, or that's more that's just to control some people that don't know how to balance the different parts of their musicianship that they need to work on.
I wonder if they think too that they're afraid of learning something wrong because their ear's not developed, but there's no way to develop your ear without doing this step. And so the best musicians have spent lots of time doing this kind of thing. Not every great musician, but most great musicians. So I just find it curious when you have so many experts telling you the same thing.
I guess
and
it's
then you still ignore it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I take it similar to the slowing down when you're doing marathon training. You know what else it is? I think people don't have enough confidence in themselves as jazz pianists. We say this all the time. We're look, we're all jazz pianists here. It doesn't matter what level you're at. There is no threshold that you have to pass to become a professional jazz pianist.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell that means. And so once you see yourself, and that is very similar to runners, people are like, oh, I'm not a real runner. Oh, no, I just, And it's like, no, if you're lacing up the shoes and going, you don't have to have a certain type of shoe to be considered a runner or hit a certain time or a certain thing. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. And so I think that's why people ignore this. They're like, oh, yeah, well, this very specialized training of slowing down for 80% of your training. I'm not good enough for that. I'm not ready for that. Even if I'm hearing that, that's not me because I'm not a real runner. And I think that's the thing with this. It's like, I'm not a real pianist. I haven't gotten to the level where I can just learn things.
There might be an ego thing at play with both these things as well. Just as you maybe wouldn't want to be seen running slow, you might not want to be seen struggling to learn how to play the song or getting it wrong, and you don't want to be seen getting it wrong. Even though that's an important part of growing is getting it wrong, or going slow.
And this is not even necessarily to someone else. This is to yourself.
Yeah.
So like you're practicing, and it's going to be quicker to kind of get the tune by looking at the chart.
You want to sound good.
You're going to feel good. You want to sound good. You want to hear good. You want to hear yourself sounding good.
Yeah.
You want to hear nice things. Can we have nice things?
You got to hear yourself sounding bad. We should get a T-shirt with that on it. You have to keep sounding bad until you sound good.
Right. And when you're practicing, the more sounding bad, the more struggling, the more progress. And it's just the same thing. Like the more slowing down, people are going to be passing you by as you're training, but you're waiting for that race day. Race day is like performance day. Like what are you going to do to put yourself in the position to be able to do that? And I think this, theory's great. We talk about theory all the time. I love theory.
Should be way down the list.
Way down the list. Exactly.
Okay, let's get back to this. So
I like the learning new tunes as a all right, let me put it back.
So the next one we have here is ear training, transcription, and improvisation. So number 3, listen.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying. Yeah. You should develop your ear skills by listening to jazz recordings and trying to identify the notes, chords, rhythms, and melodies by ear.
Okay, great. That's perfect.
Should be number 1.
Thank
should
you
be number 1.
AI.
You should also transcribe solos and phrases from your favorite jazz pianist and learn to play them on your instrument. Also true.
Yeah.
This will help you improve your vocabulary and style. True. You should also practice improvising over tunes and chord progressions that you have learned using the language that you've transcribed or learned from books. Also true.
Yeah.
You can use software like Transcribe or Amazing Slow Downer to help with your transcription. All good advice.
Yes.
You can allocate your time according to your goals and interests, but a general guideline would be to spend about 10 minutes on each element per day. For example, 10 minutes on theory drills, 10 minutes on learning a new tune, 10 minutes on ear training, transcription, and improvisation. So it's not bad.
Well, I like the breaking down. I like the fact that it kind of gives some structure.
Yeah, we've talked about similar things.
You asked for 30 minutes, right?
This would
I don't know if that's the right one.
This would give you a total of 30 minutes of practice per day, which is manageable, but for most busy people. Of course, you can adjust the time and frequency according to your schedule and availability. I hope this helps you get started with your jazz piano practice routine. If you have any questions or feedback, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing your progress.
See, that's creepy too. Just the facts, ma'am, right? Just give me the information. I don't want to become friends with the computer. So what do you think about this 30-minute practice not including any... So it's 10 minutes of theory drills, 10 minutes of learning a new tune, 10 minutes of ear training, transcribe. Okay, what I see a big hole here, and that's some kind of technical practice.
There's no technical practice,
right? Yeah. That's a problem, I think, because I would say 30 minutes. I would put 10 minutes, and it's not that like, oh, it's as important for developing your jazz vocabulary and stuff, but it's so foundational, and it's such a important part. Like, not everything that you're doing in your practice can or should be for exact results that you're looking for.
100%. So,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
in fact, it's you're going to be out of balance if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, and you need actually time to play. And I don't mean play like just play the piano. I mean, you need some play time. You need some time.
That's not in here either.
You need some time that where there's no results that are going to be gained.
Right.
It's just for you to explore and experiment and play. That has to be a part of it.
Right.
It's an important part of our process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe with 30 minutes a day, maybe that's not every day. I would love for that to be, because I feel like that can be 3-4 minutes at the end of your practice. I mean, I hate getting into like 30 minutes of practice. Here's your 4-minute segment and your 3-minute. But just to say that it's not, it can be a small part at the end. I always recommend that. I mean, we talk about this for years.
Yeah,
it's like
or it could be the whole session. You could do whole sessions, 30 minutes on each of these things,
Right, because if you practice 10 minutes on learning a new tune, I love that. And then ear training, yeah, great. Theory, I would say instead of theory drills, technique, scales.
There's a big movement going on in some arts communities of just like getting out of this specialization of some of this stuff, and really just incorporating whatever art that you're passionate about, or any art actually, just into your life in general. The way they're supposed to be, like our hunter-gatherer ancestors they didn't practice anything. It was just like you play the drums to communicate.
Right.
And to have rituals to celebrate things.
Right.
And
call to prayer.
To get yourself amped up for a hunt, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like all of this stuff has been practical. And we've sort of like taken it out of that sense into this very specialized craftsman style where you're talking about 10 minutes on theory, 10 minutes on learning. It's all fine. Like I said, it's a productivity hack, but that doesn't always equate to freedom as a musician.
This doesn't even make any sense, actually, now that I see it. 10 minutes on theory drills.
What would you do?
What is a theory drill?
Well, I've got a lot of harmonic warm-ups for you, Peter, if you want one.
Wait, just look at that. 10 minutes. Here, I'm going to highlight this. 10 minutes on theory drill. Tell me a theory drill.
Well, you could
is that like, what kind of chord is this, Adam?
That's an ear training drill.
Okay, yeah, that's, okay. What is a theory drill?
Well, I could do. I'm actually developing some theory etudes and warm-ups, which you could do, but I don't know how they would know what this would be. But yeah, I don't know what a theory drill
They're inside your brain, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. No, but taking things through like the diatonic things and the different ways you can approach it, but that's not something that you would spend 10 minutes doing every day.
I wouldn't. If somebody told me practice theory drills for 10, I wouldn't know what to do.
Especially most people that would ask this question, how to make a 30-minute practice routine when you're busy. 15 minutes of that could be technique because there's likely a lot of proficiency deficiency.
And I just saw an interesting YouTube video about like our major scales needed, and I didn't watch the whole thing yet because I'm hoping it's not like they're not. But the kind of premise of it was like you never play scales in almost any kind of music. Which, first of all, isn't true. You're playing fragments of them all the time.
We just had Helen Sung on talking about how important it is.
I know. But it's like practicing, when we talk about practicing technique, practicing scales, that is so much bigger than just the technical side of it. Like there's such a, like the shapes, the understandings of the different keys.
The nuts and bolts of music.
Nuts and bolts of music.
But also,
foundational, fundamental.
Hearing Helen talk about the sort of string of pearls of the technical practice, which you have such a beautiful scale, Peter, that has no breaks in it and it's perfectly even. Developing that up to a point would do more for you than any sort of theory exercise.
Yeah,
theory drills. I don't know what that would be.
That kind of irks us. I like that.
I like it.
Well, we can't get mad at anything. We're just getting mad at the algorithm, which is just a reflection of us as humans.
Yeah, I don't know where it gets all this, but this just goes to show there's just a lot of bad information on the internet.
So we're gonna say
last ChatGPT, Peter.
Well, this may be. I mean, look, like a lot of this stuff I'm hearing in other fields too.
Let's make a gentleman's agreement.
70%. Yeah, we're about to. 70% of this is right, though, wouldn't you say?
I would say
approximately.
So. I also
it's not bad.
It's pretty good.
What you pay for?
I got invited to Bard, B-A-R-D, Bard which
College?
is the new Google AI.
Oh.
And I asked it.
I love how he's throwing that around. I got invited.
I got invited like it's some secret.
Bill Gates sent over an invite.
Oh, man, I got invited to a blue check on Instagram the other day. Turns out it's just a subscription service they're offering now. And I was like, damn it. What is an efficient jazz piano practice routine is what I asked. And they had a more succinct answer. Here is a possible efficient jazz piano practice routine.
Ooh, a little humility, baby.
I like that it wasn't like, "Hi, well, I'm your new teacher. I'm Bing your piano
bada bing,
teacher.
Bada bing,
bada
you were going to practice some theory drills.
So this is actually a little bit better. Warm up. Play some scales and arpeggios to get your fingers warmed up. That's actually pretty good
technique.
advice. Yeah. Practice chords. Learn new chords and practice playing them in different inversions. It's vague, but not bad. Improvisation. Practice improvising over a simple chord progression. Again, this is all very general. Learn a new tune. Learn a new jazz tune by ear or by reading sheet music. That's nice. Like learn it by ear or by reading sheet music.
Yeah,
that's good.
little options.
Listen to jazz. Listen to jazz recordings and transcribe the solos you like.
What if it said, listen to the You'll Hear podcast?
That would be great. Practice with a metronome. Practice playing scales, arpeggios, and chords to a metronome. Practice with a band. Practice playing with a band or other musicians.
I'm a fox. I'm a fox in socks. I have a hat.
It is
I'm a cat in a hat.
That. This is just a general guideline, and you can adjust it to fit your own needs and goals. The most important thing is to be consistent with your practice and always be learning new things. ABL.
ABL. Don't be stealing from me, Bill Gates. No, it's not Bill. Is Bill Gates Google? No, he's Microsoft.
Come on.
He's Bing.
That's our tech CEO, everybody. Here are some additional tips for practicing jazz piano efficiently. Set realistic goals. Don't try to learn everything at once. Set realistic goals for yourself and focus on one thing at a time. Be patient. Learning jazz piano takes time and practice. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately. Just keep practicing and you will eventually see improvement. I like all this, actually.
That's good.
Have fun. Jazz piano is fun and rewarding. is a fun and rewarding instrument to play. enjoy the process of learning.
It says jazz is a fun and interesting instrument to play.
I just don't. I think Bard hasn't played enough jazz. That's the problem. But I think this is actually a little bit, because it's saying like straight up, this is just general. But the generality of it is better, and more accurate than the Bing. So once again, Google beats Bing.
Well,
again,
I guess so.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
was it Bing Yahoo? Is that what Bing was?
No, Bing is Microsoft.
Oh, is
my
it?
friend? That's Bill Gates. That's formerly Bill Gates. That brings us to the gentleman and ladies agreement. This is very important. If you've heard this and you've done it, you can sign off now.
Okay.
But if not, please adhere to the gentleman's and ladies agreement. And this is based upon really just you consuming this podcast on a regular basis. We provide the podcast. You provide a little something to help spread the love.
It's a simple proposition.
It doesn't have to be a creepy proposition, though, does it? We ask that you go to youtube.com.
www.
And just search for You'll Hear It, and you will see our beautiful podcast in video form.
Yep.
And we ask that you subscribe and maybe like a video, maybe even comment. And if you want to go the extra mile, we ask that you give us a rating and review wherever you're consuming this podcast in the audio format. That's a lot. So just go to the YouTube.
Go and do it.
That's the gentleman's agreement. And we're agreeing because you're not going to get great things like the Moo chord anywhere else.
Nowhere else. You're going to get quality jazz education like that Moo chord.
And until next time, you will hear it.